whether it be from the original or from the 3DS.
And here we go. So, first cycle isn't that exciting, but there is a couple of glitches here and there that give it a little spice and make it a lot more fun. One of the glitches would be called log skip. You won't be seeing it from Iwabi today because we consider this all a meme, sort of. It's basically the logs at the start of the when you're heading to chase after Skull Kid, and basically Grezzo broke the slopes on the game, so they work very interestingly, and you can just side hop and jump slash, and you can land yourself on one of the mushrooms that is on the wall, and you can completely skip going across the logs. It's a pointless trick. It barely saves any time. Nobody thinks that it saves time because it's a fraction of a second that it saves.
You told me half a second last time.
That's still a fraction, Zahir.
Okay, you got me there.
But this is a sort of long cutscene that nobody likes to see. But when you're me and you like to just find random glitches like log skip, you can spend all the time in the world playing through this same cutscene just to try it out.
So one of the and this doesn't really relate to speedrunning that much, but one of the nicer changes about the 3DS version is really, really fast text. You just mash your B button away and it goes very quickly. It's wonderful. There are a lot of really good changes that a lot of people don't really notice because a lot of it's pretty overshadowed by things like Zora swimming. I'll get more on that later. You take it from here, Stooges, as locks will come up.
Yeah. Alright, so basic movement. Here are the logs that we're talking about that you can skip. What I have timed is that if you get some close to frame perfect side hops and you can get this first try, you can save up to half of a second, which isn't even that much. And if you fail it, you lose time, but it's all just fun and games for if you're not a world record holder like Iwabi. There's also a side route that we have been working on that nobody really wants to do because it's a stupid trick all in all, because there are 2 frame perfect tricks that you have to pull off in a row, and that will lead up to you getting, first you have to RI as Deku, which requires you to pull out an item as you land on the ground from a flower, and basically
RI is short for restricted items, by the way.
you have to pull out a bomb, and you have to set it next to a flower again, but at a specific frame. You have to enter the flower, and you have to be holding shield for this to work. Basically, you'll get some knockback off of the bomb as you're entering the flower, giving you a high speed while you're moving away from the flower in the ground. We call this Deku Flower Slide, and basically, there's no collision after you enter this mode, so you can fly through the walls. You can fly just about. You can get to anywhere you want, and that's how our new route is planned. In North Clocktown, there's a Deku flower there, and basically you have to escape Clocktown by manipulating it like that. And what our route is planning to do is go get Song of Soaring before the second cycle. So Song of Soaring first cycle. The reason we want to do this is because in first cycle, before the Clocktown cutscene happens, where the doors open and you can go fight, and you can go shoot Skull Kid and get the ocarina. There are no enemies in Termina Field, and then there's a cutscene called Skull Kid's cutscene, which leads you to the swamp. And basically, while you're in this, once you escape Clocktown with no enemies, it also means no cutscenes. So you can just walk right past it and not trigger the cutscene. And we'll put that off to the side for a real quick second. As you can see, we do not have Happy Mask Salesman skip, which is one of the changes from the Nintendo 64 edition. But with the fast text that we have in this game, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. And yeah. And then back to the escape and Song of Soaring. You get to Swamp, but here's the catch to this route. You have to get Song of Soaring before the clock tower goes off, the clock tower cutscene goes off. Because if you don't, basically, from where you enter the next loading, if you're not in the loading zone of where the Song of Soaring cutscene is, if you enter the next loading zone and you go get Song of Soaring or something of the sort, and then you die afterwards,
Hey, so sorry to cut you off, man, but I just want to let those who are not familiar with even the original Majora's Mask speedruns. So what Iwabi did just now is go to uh, Andrew's grandmother in the Stockpot Inn to fast forward time to the final day, and then he's gonna go straight to the trading post to talk to the Scarecrow to make it nighttime immediately. So this is the fastest known way for the first cycle to reach third night midnight. Yeah, for the tower open and stuff. So sorry about that. Go ahead, Stuchus.
Nope, you're fine. Okay, so like I was saying, if you do not get Song of Soaring before the clock tower cutscene happens, if you're not in the loading zone of where the cutscene is at, it will not teleport you back to Clocktown after you die. Because after that cutscene plays, if you die, you end up back in Clocktown. And if you do not get Song of Soaring, then you will have to go back to Clocktown the long way. But the catch is, when the enemies are back, the cutscenes are back also. So you would have to watch Skull Kid cutscene even though you skipped it earlier, which is very slow, and that's why we're not using that route right at this moment. Now Iwabi is heading back into the Anju's place, and he goes to this chest to get 100 rupees. This will be to buy bombs, bomb bag, and bomb shoes in the second cycle. He grabbed the fairy as he was going to get magic, because there is no way to shoot the Skull Kid without your magic.
So we kind of saw earlier he did a Deku spin in front of the door as he was trying to exit the stockpile inn. Even though it may seem like a bit of a movement error, he's not actually going to lose any time from it, because he has to wait in front of the tower until midnight anyway. So the movement here is not that important. And what he did just now, when he did that particular side hop inside the Great Fairy Fountain here, it was actually to skip a very short text box where Tattle the fairy tells you, "Oh no, Great Fairy, what happened?" and all that stuff. So he saves a bit of time there. In-game time gets the pass a little bit more. He skips a text box and stuff. He's gonna have to try to skip it again as he tries to leave the fountain area as well, because it's the trigger for that text box is still there. And hey, you got it. That was a nice backflip. Really cool. So, nice save time.
And now he has 4 hours to waste away in game time. So he's just screwing around until he needs to go to the clock tower.
So, Mythical, if there's anything you would like to talk about at the moment, this would be a great time, because let me tell you, once first cycle ends, it picks up real quick, and there'll be all sorts of things to talk about. So, anything you'd like to say now would certainly be the best time.
Most of my questions are about the stuff that comes after, because I did check out the run before, and everything was seeming kind of straightforward. And then he did the first thing you do when you get to Termina Field for the first time, and some shenanigans started happening. And there was a couple where like collision would completely stop, and he would like hook shot wherever he wanted, basically. So that's mostly what I'm looking forward to hearing the commentary for.
Alright, the trick that he just did is called a gainer. Basically, if you backflip and you target while holding forward, it's not that hard of a trick, but it's a little hard to explain. But basically, it'll give you the ability to gain air in front of you instead of doing a full backflip and moving away from the ledge.
Why isn't he picking up the
And it's
sarcasm?
almost midnight, so he's gonna go ahead and collect the Ocarina, and with a few more cutscenes, the first cycle will be over. Yeah.
With that gainer, when he was walking over that heart piece, that's the weird effect that the game has when you do a gainer and grab onto a ledge and don't let go of your Z target or L target. You can just walk through objects that you can pick up, and he doesn't pick it up because he clearly wants to go fast, and getting a couple more text boxes is just a little too slow for him.
Right, because in-game time is not passing while those text boxes are on screen.
Right. Oh, yes. If you play this game in 3D, it lags. Even on the new 3DS, it still lags. It's not one of the extensive RAM games. It's a game that you can play on new 3DS or old 3DS, and it'll work the same.
Speaking of lag, the C stick, since Iwabi is playing on a new 3DS, he will be using the C stick. He's able to move the camera. When you do that, it lags the game for a bit, which can make certain frame perfect tricks easy to buffer. Thanks to using the home button to bring up the menu and holding the C stick at the same time, he can lag the game enough to use home button buffering to buffer anything frame by frame.
So now he just got the Song of Time, and as I said before, when you play Song of Time, it does not save anymore. So he's going to have to watch the cutscene, which is a little unfortunate from comparison to the Nintendo 64 edition. But it's not too long of cutscene, so we don't worry about it that much.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. We lose out on skipping these cutscenes, we lose out on skipping giant cutscenes, but it gets made up for with what we can skip that the original cannot. And we'll definitely be seeing this pretty soon. Or rather, we'll be seeing it throughout the run.
So that was the end of first cycle, and now is the fun part of the game.
Well, he's got to get the Deku Mask first, and then the run really starts. Things will get really fast. So the moment Iwabi receives the Deku Mask and learns the Song of Healing, he's gonna go straight into out to Termina Field, and he's gonna head straight towards the swamp. But he's gonna have to do the Skull Kid cutscene skip, which there are different methods to doing it. I don't think Iwabi uses the method that you or I use, Stooges. Is that correct? Does he still do the
I think he still does the side hop method.
Okay.
Um, but you can do a glitch called Death Time Stop, and basically you die on the same frame that you freeze time, and you can just walk through the cutscene without triggering it.
Yeah, there's still a few more cutscenes to sit through, but the moment he leaves, he leaves the clock
Yeah.
tower, that's when things will pick up. So there are a good number of differences from the original to the 3DS. Like, I'm not even mentioning speedrun differences, but things that the developers themselves have changed for even normal play. Things like Dora swimming.
I know a bunch of people complain about it because they made it easier but slower to
But
control.
what some people don't actually know is that even though the new Zora swimming uses up magic in this remake, even if you run out of magic, you can still continuously press the R button to get spurts of fast swimming, kind of like when you're rolling on the ground, when you're just using the A button to roll. Uh, not a lot of, at least not a lot of, when the game was coming out, and some reviewers or stuff were mentioning that Zora swimming was worse and it now uses magic. Some of them didn't really mention that you can still go kind of fast, even if you are out of magic. Oh boy, okay. So he left Clocktown. Now the run really picks up. He's gonna go and I think he's doing the time stop method. It looks like he's going straight for the gobstone right now. Yes, he is going for it. Oh. So what he did just now, he went on to an edge of the tree branch or the tree root there. He used the sword slash and mashed the ocarina button so he can pull it out, have the ocarina still be able to use the ocarina while he's moving, and he took damage from the the camera's not available.
Hopefully this gets fixed soon. He's still playing. You can hear it.
I can still explain the rest of the Skull Kid cutscene skip. So he took damage from the Deku Baba, and when he did the final jump attack on his last remaining health, his half heart, and before that he played the Song of Time, so that when the little text box that mentioned, "Do you want to go back in time?" He pressed yes slightly after doing the jump attack, and that let him store the Song of Time, so that he can still move and go past the trigger for the Skull Kid cutscene. So he was able to skip it.
While they try to fix this,
we could talk a little bit about what it's like to capture off of a 3DS.
Okay. Um,
Well,
there are two options. You can either go the new 3DS with a soft mod route, or you can go with a hard modded 3DS with a captured card installed inside of it.
I would also like to mention that Iwabi's 3DS capture card was made by someone different than uh, like the capture card that I use personally. The capture card that I have installed into my own 3DS, I don't really have many issues at all. Really, I've been very satisfied with the capture card I've had, but Iwabi's capture card is different. It is different, so there are problems he may experience that I haven't. So it's pretty unfortunate. But what it sounds like right now is that he is inside the. He's made it to the Woods of Mystery. He's going to go ahead and talk to the fallen Twin Wolver Witch that's inside, and he is going to get the bottle of red potion. That is his purpose for being in the swamp, other than getting the Song of Soaring, which in the 3DS version was moved to the beginning of the Southern Swamp. So he doesn't have to worry about getting, closer to the Deku Palace area. So that's very convenient. Very convenient, very nice, of a very good change in the 3DS version. Now, not only will the bottle come in handy for him, but the red potion itself will be used later on, and he's going to soon duplicate a bottle, but still keep the red potion. So right now, by the sound of things, he is using the Song of Soaring to go to Clocktown right now. He's gonna go withdraw 90 rupees from the bank, and then he's gonna go straight to the Curiosity Shop, because I think he did Song of Double Time to 10 at night, so that the Curiosity Shop will be open. But he's going to go there and duplicate a bottle by selling the red potion while holding the R button, so that Link pulls his shield out before he actually sells the red potion. And this gives him 2 frames to be able to pause the menu and equip a Deku Nut, which he got on his way to the Woods of Mystery. He will equip that over the red potion bottle right before he sells it, and then he will still get the 20 rupees from selling it, but he will keep the red potion inside his real bottle and will now have a duplicated bottle over the Deku Nuts, which then he's going to go into the trading post next. He's actually going to get the Scarecrow song. I think the pattern he likes to use for his Scarecrow song is XY 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 until you get the deal. But yes, Scarecrow song is actually used in any percent. That is I think it's very cool. It's not something you would see in the original. And then shortly afterwards, he's going to use that duplicated bottle and put a fish inside of it. That will be used to do time stop a little later. And now after putting the fish in the duplicated bottle, he should be entering the bomb shop. Do you think they might have paused?
No, they did not.
They did not pause. Okay.
No,
So
they just restarted their stream.
Okay.
Okay, so it seems that he got the Great Bay early first try. Basically, with Great Bay early, unlike the Nintendo 64 version where you might like get ISG and then backflip over the fence. The game is different on this one, so basically we can't hold ISG long enough to get over the fence, and so we have to do a new trick that is exclusive to the 3DS Zelda games called a long jump. And basically, if you're on the edge of a cliff and you place a bomb behind you, it'll push you off the cliff to where you jump, but the bomb boosts you further and you get a long jump. That's still not long enough for you to get over the fence, so you have to get a frame perfect sword slash to get on top of the fence so you can get into Great Bay early.
I'm guessing that they're watching the Zora cutscene right now.
Yes, they are.
But afterwards, after he gets the Zora mask, he's gonna head over to the pirate's fortress, and they're going to do the sewer skip, which is really nice in the 3DS version. Unlike in the N64 version, if I remember correctly, if they still do Pirate's Fortress the same way, I think there was something about reverse Pirate's Fortress. But anyway, so he's gonna do a bomb boost, similar to what he did to get into Great Bay early, but he's going to do a technique that is exclusive to the 3DS version called a mask jump. Now, after he gets boosted by the bomb, and he wants to have the Zora mask equipped before he gets boosted by the bomb, he's gonna hold forward as he does a long jump. When the Zora reaches the apex of his jump, and then he begins to fall, he's going to use he's going to bring up the home menu, and then when he exits the home menu, he's going to hold forward the B button so he can buffer a jump attack, and he's going to hold down either the Zora mask or the Deku mask.
I think he does the Zora mask.
It does the Zora mask? Okay.
I think so.
So, and the mask has to be on one of the touch buttons, because when you have an item equipped to a touch button and you press on it, it actually takes an extra frame to actually use the item in comparison to using an item from one of the X or Y buttons. Which works out perfectly for a mask jump, because he wants to be able to do a jump attack and then only a frame later use a mask, and his fins need to already have been put away before the bomb boost, by the way, so that instead of actually doing the jump attack, he will get the boost from a jump attack, but he will be in a falling animation. And when you store a mask, which is also exclusive to the 3DS version, while you're in midair, when you use a mask, he will equip it the very moment he touches the ground, or grabs a ledge. When he grabs a ledge, he not only does he just put the mask on immediately, but he skips climbing up the ledge. He skips that animation completely, which is pretty nice.
When he got into Great Bay, he picked up either bugs or fish. I think they're bugs.
I think he got the fish in the trading post after the Scarecrow song.
Oh, that's true. Well, that came in handy. Came in handy for the next trick that he's going to be pulling off, called B cutscene skip. Basically, he's going to use the bottled fish to get time stop, and if he gets time stop, cutscenes don't work. Cutscenes are frozen and you can't trigger them. So he just walks right past the cutscene, and he leaves his time stop and then puts on Zora Mask and hits the beehive for the cutscene to continue on, and so he can get hook shot.
Oh, one thing that's very important when he's doing the time stop, since he uses mass storage to be able to do the time stop, because when you Star Mask, after putting a fish in a bottle or something like that, you want to do mass storage to be able to still keep that bottle in your hand and shield at the same time. Because in the 3DS version, if he pulls out his shield, he will put away the bottle. But now, once he gets the time stop, before he lets go of shield, he wants to remove the mask that he has done mass storage with, which might either be the Zora Mask or the Deku Mask. I think Iwabi does this with the Zora Mask as well.
I think he does it without a mask. I'm not entirely sure, but if he does do it with a mask, then yes, Sahir is correct. He has to take off the mask before he can get out of time, before he can let go of shield, because you'll get a soft lock and you can't get exit time stop without getting caught by the guards.
Yes. And then after all the B cutscene skip and all the time stop shenanigans, he uses the Zora fins to hit the bee's nest and get rid of the pirates. And he should already have hook shot, and in which now he's probably soared to Clock Town and is probably already doing Icon early, which is, it's really unfortunate. We're not able to see anything, because this is when I would start the cycle timer. That link I posted in chat earlier. Now, unfortunately, we won't be able to follow it. But getting into Icona early, because he does not have the Goron Mask, we don't get the Goron Mask in the 3DS version either. So to get past the fences, he's gonna do something called Tattle Action Swap by equipping the hook shot on one button and bombs on the other button. Because when you go up to the first fence on the road to Icona, Tattle's command will come up, and you use the hook shot to go into first person, and then you press the bomb button, and then very, very shortly afterwards, like a frame, maybe two, you immediately use the Tattle text, which is right on the D-pad, right on the 3DS D-pad. And if he performed the action swap correctly, he should have a ground jump stored. So, with the ground jump stored, he will line himself in front of the fence, but he'll do a backwalk to trigger one of the blue bubbles to chase after him, so that when he gets close, he can use that ground jump and then immediately do a jump attack. So he's getting a double boost, a double height boost, and then he gets a third final height boost from the blue bubble hitting him, and he lands on top of the fence. And then shortly after getting past the first fence, he gets past the second fence and I didn't notice before speedrunning the 3DS version, there's a rock that's like in the middle of the second fence, and you can actually play the Scarecrow song. Summon a Scarecrow on top of that big rock, and you can just hookshot right up there and skip the second fence completely. Which is really, really convenient because doing action or title action swap on the second fence would be a bit more time consuming. And now how he actually gets into the Iconic Canyon, because he doesn't have the Goros mask, so it won't. So the pole collector won't let him get up there. But there is a save. There's a save statue very close to where that pole collector is, and Iwabi can just backflip on top of a rock that's very close to where that save statue is, and then just save it from there, and then restart the game. And then this is where the cycle timer will come into effect. I'll go ahead and post a link in chat again. When we prepare to set up for the wrong warps, after saving the game and exiting out of the game to go back into the home menu, we actually quit out of the game. And when we reload the game, the moment the screen goes dark, the very moment it goes dark, we use the cycle timer. We press start, and as the cycle timer is running, as you can see, if you had pulled out the link in the cycle timer, you will see that there's a blue box and there's a yellow box. The blue one is for 0th day, which will not be used for this any percent speedrun, and the yellow box for wrong warp. I'll get more into cycle timer in a little bit, but so since he saved on that save statue that's right next to the or really close to the pole collector, he's able to just walk right into the Iconic Canyon, which is pretty nice.
From here, he does a long jump across the river to the other dock, because this is a trick called ice arrows skip, because originally you'd need ice arrows to freeze the enemies in the water and they turn into ice blocks so you can get across, but he just uses a bomb and the Zora mask and gets across, and then he hookshots the trees to get into Icona, and he hits the owl at the top and heads towards the music house, the music box house, and then he does a clip with Gibdo, and basically you get the Gibdo right next to the house, and with your hook shot you side hop into it and you hook shot it, but when you hook shot it, it puts you inside of the house because you're getting in between it, and it pushes you into the house, and you can just walk into the loading zone instead of going through and getting and playing the song for flat and such. And this is where the Gibdo mask is collected, and this is probably the most broken item in the game.
Yes, that is correct. The what he's gonna do with the Gibdo mask is he's going to leave the music box house and head towards the well. He's gonna head straight towards the well. Now that red potion he still has, that he used to duplicate a bottle over the Deku Nuts. He's going to give that red potion to the first Gibdo, so he can get into the next room. Then he's going to use that same bottle because Gibdos only accept items from real bottles and not duplicated bottles. So he's going to put a fish in that next room into the real bottle and then give that to the next Gibdo. And when he enters that room, he's going to collect another fish in the real bottle, but now he's going to do ESS bottle dupe. ESS for extended super slide. He's going to hold the circle pad in a ESS position the same way you would in the N64 version.
It's just
So he
very slightly off of the central position.
Yes. So he's gonna duplicate a bottle over the Gibdo mask. Now that cycle timer, when it gets into the wrong warp area, he's going to use that duplicated bottle over the Gibdo mask to put hot spring water in it while the timer's within the wrong warp box, and that will enable him to do a wrong warp. And it puts the game in the fourth day glitch. Is that it, Ultimate Stooges? The fourth day glitch, or
Yeah. It's fourth day for wrong warps. Yes.
And keep in mind, since he started the cycle timer from when he saved it to get into Iconic Canyon early, he had to do all of this flawlessly. Otherwise, he would not make the wrong warp cycle in the cycle timer. So, not sure how it went at the moment, but I'm sure, knowing Iwabi, I'm sure he has done a very good job, and he made it to the wrong warp cycle on time.
And so, after he gets the wrong warp stored, he plays Song of Inverted Song of Time, and then he soars back to Swamp, and he's going to get Sonata now, so that he can raise Woodfall Temple.
Now, getting the Sonata of Awakening early in this game is pretty easy in comparison. Very convenient too. He just goes into the garden area where the guards are. He will do a backflip on top of one of the little doors that's like in the middle, and he's going to the side with the piece of heart. He's going to that side, and then he'll do another backflip onto the platform with the Deku flower on it, and then go to the other platform with the Deku flower on it, and then go inside the monkey's room, the monkey side of the Deku Palace, and learn the Song of Awakening. And once he has that, he's going to go outside to where the flowers are. Now, the flower layout is changed in the 3DS version. Now, I'm not sure if Iwabi chose to play it safe here and just use the Deku mask to fly from flower to flower, or if he decided to use bombs to boost him from flower to flower. Although the bomb boosting is faster, it's a lot riskier, especially if he falls.
I think what he might have done is actually the extended hook shot, which is a glitch that goes off of you use 2 bombs, and the bombs will get you into this. You have to place 1 bomb and pull a bomb out as soon as right after, and you get them far enough apart where they won't explode each other, and basically you shield one, and then after you shield it, you have to hit the, like on N64 it'd be C up, but it's just the view button, and basically what that'll do will put you in this glitch called first person glitch. And with this glitch, you can pull out your hook shot, but you have to be holding L so you don't go into the first person with hook shot. And basically, this glitch will allow you to shoot your hook shot just about as long as you want it to be. What it'll be doing is shooting a specific spot on the wall, on a tile on the wall, and what he should do is there's a torch right behind him, and if you hook shot and let go of L at the same frame, you will get a glitch hook shot where you will go forward with it, and like if you shoot a specific area and then you turn the opposite way to shoot the torch, you will go to where it last hit on the hook shot. So that should put him in the loading zone to Woodfall, or to raise Woodfall.
So now that he would be in the Woodfall area, pretty straightforward route from there. He'd go. I think he would take the right side,
Yeah.
and he'll make his way through. He'll play the Song of Awakening at the pedestal and open up a Woodfall Temple and enter it, of course. Now, Woodfall Temple, very, very interesting. The beginning, since he has hookshot at the first room, he will drop down to the ground. He will roll towards where the other side is. He will use the hookshot to hook onto the torch and enter the next room. And then once he's in the next room, he can just use the hookshot to hook on to the torch that's slightly to the right of him as he enters. And he'll hook onto that torch, then he'll jump onto platform in front of him and enter that door. And then he'll make his way to another room in which he'll fight a Dinophos for the bow. The bow is, of course, very important in Majora's Mask speedrunning, in the 3DS as well. So now that he's probably gotten the bow, he probably got the bow a while ago, but since he got the bow, he will make his way back to the really big room with the swamp water in that really weird looking flower thing in the middle. Now, and there's a switch in front of that door that you exit, that you come in from. You move Link to next to the switch there without stepping on the switch at all. And title's text should pop up. And Iwabi would have equipped bow
Deku
on.
stick and bow on the X and Y buttons. And then he'd pull off another Tattle action swap. And this time, with bow and Deku stick for the action swap, he gave himself a fire arrow, which he needs to open the door to the boss room. And he's basically going to aim at the torch at which he needs to shoot, and he pulls out his stick and he aims at it, and it'll shoot like a fire arrow, and you will unlock the door and go into the next room. Then, since we don't have the boss key right now, we're going to be doing another extended hookshot, and he'll be doing a setup that makes the trick really easy. gets first person glitch, then extended hookshot, hits the torch, and when he hits the torch, he'll go through the boss door and be in Oldola's room. And then for the boss, it's pretty straightforward. There's multiple ways you can tackle the boss. Iwabi has this crazy strat for it where he uses bomb chews to attack Odola to get him on the ground. And with all the bosses, there's this new element to it where they have a giant eye, and you basically just have to attack the giant eye. And the boss fight usually takes around 3 cycles. If you're not fast enough, you will get a little cutscene where he drops down his babies, and it loses you time a little bit. He will avoid you until you kill all the babies. And after that, you've beaten the boss, and pick up the heart piece and enter the blue warp. And then you'll get the Oath to Orders. And we think that Japanese is the fastest language, and then French is the second fastest. We're not entirely sure because we haven't checked it out, but we think Japanese is fastest because of smaller text boxes. French is faster than English or Spanish because of fewer text boxes on the Giants cutscenes, which saves you like 1 or 2 seconds.
Okay, so, and once you get the altar order and you're back to where the princess room, the Dicker princess room where she's being held, we don't need to say her. We just leave and head straight back to Icona Canyon, because now, or at least Iwabi would, after beating Woodfall Temple, go straight to Stone Tower Temple, and you can go ahead and explain how they do it. Ultimate Surges, I know you enjoy extended hookshot.
Yes.
Glitches.
All right. So basically, we get into the Icona Stone Tower. The Stone Tower, and you have to climb it to get into Stone Tower Temple. But to climb it the correct way, you need LG of Emptiness, and we would need to get Mirror Shield and all of that just for that one song. We don't want to do that. So we get to the nearest ledge, and you can use extended hookshot on a BMOS. There are certain actors that you can't use it on. Torches and BMOS happen to be some of them that you can. And so from the spot that we are at, shooting the hookshot directly up will get you onto the platform of which you enter Stone Tower Temple. So you get first person glitch, extend hookshot, and you hookshot up there, and you are in Stone Tower Temple. And as soon as you get in there, he has to go get a fairy if he did not pick the one up by the Icona owl statue. And he will enter the next room, and he will get himself damaged down to a half of a heart. And again, we need Elegy of Emptiness to do this room, but he does not have that. So we take the block all the way to the fence that is blocking us, and we get it one push away from there, and basically place a bomb. You push the block, and you don't push it until the bomb is about to explode. And once you push it, you will die, but the fairy will revive you. And so you let go of the block, and you're able to walk around it because it's moving slowly, and it'll just push you into the fence, and you'll clip right through, and you're on your way to completing the temple.
Well, and of course, there's still a lot of Stone Tower Temple shortly after the LG of Emptiness and Mirror Shield skips. Like, Iwabi would head straight to the lava room, what we would like to call the lava room, and kill all the Armos in there using bombs and probably Zorafins in case he didn't get the bomb shoes. I'm pretty sure he got the bomb shoes though, so he probably used some bomb shoes too to get his small key, so he can go into the next room, and that next room is like that bridge in the middle with the body of water around it. So he's going to use the Zora Mask to swim, press a switch that's in the room to spawn a small key chest. And that switch is in the 3DS version only. I think in the original, that chest was already there. But so he gets the chest, he gets the small key, he goes back into water and swims into the next room, opens the door using the small key, and then in that room now he's doing the first-person glitch, as the Ultimate Stooges explained several times, to get through that room and past the sun blocks, because he doesn't have either the Mirror Shield or Light Arrows yet. Excuse me. So, and he will, after getting past the room with the sunblocks, he will be in the room right before the Garo Master room, where you would normally use the Deku Mask to fly across, but you can also do a extended hookshot glitch here as well to hookshot to the chest that's surrounded by flames right on the other side of the gate. So he gets through that room very quickly, which is very cool. And then he enters the Garo Master room. He fights and kills the Garo Master and gets the light arrows. And now, the very moment he gets the light arrows, he plays the Song of Soaring to get back to the entrance of Stone Tower Temple. He exits Stone Tower Temple so he can shoot the red gem with the light arrows to invert the tower. And then he enters the inverted Stone Tower Temple now, and from there, from the entrance, he goes to the room on the right, uses the light arrows to shoot a sunblock, the sunblock that's blocking the way. Then he aligns himself up with a pattern on the wall before the room with the three wind columns. Not sure what to call them, pillars, whichever. He'll do a series of side hops to one of the wind pillars, and then he'll time a jump slash to recoil off a wall and land on top of the big bridge that's in the middle. And there's usually I forgot the name of the enemy. They have their masks. They're wearing those really annoying beetles that wear the mask and charge at you. You can use the hookshot to get the mask off. So that bridge, and he just goes past the enemy. It's not much of a threat to Iwabi. Gets the chest with the small key in it, and then just jumps off from that platform to land back to where he was before he did the side hops. And then he goes back to the main entrance room, and then he aligns himself up right next to the door he just came out of. He will target that wall. He will do a backflip. Not backflip. He will back walk to the ledge, but right before Link dropping into the ledge and having to pick himself up, he will drop a bomb, and then he'll uh, hang on to the ledge and climb back up. And while he's climbing back up, he's holding the L button so that Link would immediately turn around and be facing away from the bomb, and then he gets bomb boosted to the little gate thing that's surrounding the boss warp tile. For those of you who are familiar with Majora's Mask and Stone Tower Temple, so he's on top of that now. He will do three dry. What? He'll do three neutral rolls. Then he will drop a bomb and do two more neutral rolls, so he can bomb boost himself to the other side and press a switch that's over there. And he would also have to deal with the Armos Knight that's next to it as well. For those of you familiar with Majora's Mask, those Armos Knights that are exclusive in the Stone Tower Temple, you can shoot the light arrow and stuff. But anyways, he gets the switch. The chest spawns way up there, and he uses the hook shot to hook up there and go to the next room and kill the Igor that's in the next room. But unlike in the original where killing that Igor spawns the Giant's Mask, he no longer spawns the Giant's Mask there, because the Giant's Mask is now, you now get that during the Twin Mold fight. So he just kills him to go to the next room. He hits a switch so that he can hit or hook shot to a chest, and he would be in the room that's right before the boss. So after reaching up there and getting past the rolling spikes, by hooking onto other things, he will get to the bottom and backwalk all the way to where there's a bunch of pots around. And he's gonna break them to get some health. He probably needs it. Twin Mold is pretty dangerous, considering Iwabi would have
Four hearts.
4 hearts. Thank you. And Twin Mold does a lot of damage. He will, in the first phase, he will do 2 hearts, and with the Giant's Mask, he will do 1 whole heart on contact. So very, very dangerous boss. And he will do an extended hookshot trick here because of the BMOS that's in the middle of the room, and he will use that in the similar way that he used it in Woodfall Temple to get past the boss door, so he doesn't need the boss key in any of the temples actually, which is really nice. So the Twin Mold boss fight would begin, and first phase, very, very simple. Shoots the eyes on the blue Twin Mold, shoots the eyeballs, and once the blue Twin Mold dies, the red Twin Mold is all that's left. Because in the 3DS version, things are a little different. You can't really choose which one to kill first. The first phase will always be the blue Twin Mold, and that one is exclusive to you, just using your bow to shoot him down. But once the blue Twin Mold is dead, the chest that's holding the Giant's Mask will spawn in the very middle, and he will get the Giant's Mask, and he will use it to fight the red Twin Mold. But before putting the Giant's Mask on, he would do Song of Double Time to 4 a.m., keeping in mind that he is still in the 4th day glitch. So this Song of Double Time to 4 a.m. is to prepare for a wrong orb he will do very shortly after beating Twin Mold. So then he puts the Giant's Mask on, and he fights Twin Mold. Now there are 2 rocks in the arena that the Giant's Mask can throw, and very, very fun little note about this. When you pick up the rocks, it's the same as picking up a snowball from Snowhead, and when he throws it, it goes straight forward, instead of like if he were to throw a bomb and it goes at an arc. Instead of that, it goes straight. The original had that type of throwing too with their snowballs, but didn't have the rocks for Twin Mold, so a lot of people kind of missed that type of throwing out. But the developers gave it a use in the 3DS version, which is pretty cool. They made it part of the brand new Twin Mold fight, which is very, very different. But there's only 2 rocks, and he wants to kill the red Twin Mold in 3 cycles. So he'll use the 2 rocks, to bring him down 2 times. Now, for those of you who are a fan of Super Mario 64, I'm sure you all love and enjoy Mario's iconic grabbing Bowser by the tail and spinning him around by rotating the control stick. You can do that in the 3DS version too. And before I started learning how to speedrun this game, I actually did not know that when you grab Twin Mold by its head or by its tail, well, either one works. Normally, he would just do the attack, the animation, that's it. But during the animation, whether he's giving him a headlock by the head or spinning him by his tail, kind of like Bowser from Super Mario 64, if you spin the circle pad in a circular motion, kind of like in Super Mario 64, you will do slightly more damage to the red twin mold, thus being able to kill the red twin mold in only 3 cycles. Because before I knew this, it was always taking me 4 tail spins to kill twin mold, and that takes a while to bring the red twin mold down, especially when you're out of rocks and you only get 2 in the arena. So you would have to deal with the 3rd cycle by just punching him, because the Giant's Mask in the 3DS version is also very different than the original. You, instead of using your sword, you punch him like Donkey Kong, So, that good old Donkey Kong Mario mixture, the Nintendo Classic, is pretty nice. Pretty nice little bit Nintendo's got going. So, after 3 spins, and as long as you spun the circle pad in all 3 of those spins, Twin Mold should be dead. You would also want to grab the heart container, because the other bosses in the game can still do quite a bit of damage. They can be dangerous. So he would be out of Stone Tower Temple right now, but since he Song of Double timed to 4 a.m. Before fighting the Red Twin Mold with the Giant's Mask, right after Stone Tower Temple, he's going to Song of Swords straight to Clock Town. Now, the reason he does this, and it's like sometime past 5 a.m. in the in-game timer in the 4th day glitch, and he has already activated the wrong warp stuff that he needed to do with the cycle timer much earlier. So of all places, he goes into the post office and he stands in the corner of the postman's bed and just sits there until the night to day transition happens. Because if you are in an area where the night to day transition can happen and you have put hot spring water into the Gibdo mask during the yellow box, the wrong warp cycle in the cycle timer that I posted in chat earlier, it has some really, really crazy effects. It varies from where you are in the game. Now, the reason why we go to the post office, and before the wrong warp even happens, we also bring up the Bomber's Notebook to set a Tattle Alarm. Tattle Alarm is exclusive to the 3DS version, because after performing the wrong warp, it will go back to day 1, 6 a.m. So Tattle text box will be available immediately after the wrong warp. So he sits in the corner of the postman's bed, waits until the transition happens, but once the transition happens, and for some very, very strange reason, doing this in the postman's office will, with the Gibdo bottle adventure, will wrong warp you to the boss room of Snowhead Temple. So whereas in the original, you have to enter Snowhead Temple, deal with Lullaby Skip and all the temple shenanigans, and get fire arrows, we don't even need fire arrows. We don't need to do any type of lullaby skip. We just skip the entire temple, the entire stone tower, snowhead temple, and using the paddle action swap trick we used in Woodfall Temple, as the Ultimate Stooges explained earlier, we use the bow and the Deku stick to shoot an arrow that's lit on fire to melt the goat ice, so that we can now fight Goat. But we don't have the Goron mask, so I will pass it off to you, Ultimate Stooges, so you can explain how to fight Goat without the Goron mask in the 3DS version.
Alright. So, in the Nintendo 64 version, you're able to just shoot arrows at Goat because you can just spawn, you can like make him spawn in that corner and you can just side hop side to side and shoot him enough times to get him to die. That's completely different in this version because of the new thing about the eyes. Basically, it's very, very more complex now because you're basically throwing bombs in specific positions to where when Goat comes around to like around the track, he'll hit the bombs in a specific spot, and if you hit him enough times, he'll fall down and his eye will come out of his back. Basically, we have this, you can beat him in 3 cycles. It's 3 arrows, bomb, and he gets back up, goes around. You do the same thing, but when he starts to leave, you start shooting him with arrows so you can use less bombs on him if you can get enough arrows on him. And then the second cycle, it's 2 arrows, a bomb. He'll get back up, same thing happens. And then third cycle is 3 arrows and a bomb. And after you hit him with that bomb, he should die, go around wherever he needs to go, run into the wall, and then you might be close to the heart piece and you might not. If not, you can either fess, which is forward extended super slide, which is just you hold ESS position, and on the same frame that you that the bomb explodes, you hold the L button and you'll start going forward at a decent speed, faster than a backwalk. If you miss that, then you just backwalk to it and pick up the heart piece or the heart container and enter the blue warp. And then you should be in the spring of whatchamacallit?
Snowhead?
Yeah,
Mountain Village?
Mountain Village. Should be in spring of Mountain Village. And he never stopped that cycle timer from earlier, which is very important because now he has to get one more cycle in, because we're going to be doing one last wrong warp, which is to Gaiorg. And basically, you go into the Twin Isles area and you enter the grotto with the hot spring water inside of it. And again, you wait for the specific time cycle, and once you get to that, pick up the water with the Gibdo mask bottle, and if you did that all correctly, then it should give you like a message on your screen with the time flying by super quick, and it's like air, so on and so forth. You exit the grotto, and as soon as you get on the ground, like you won't even touch the ground, you'll just be in the air, and it'll transition to a new day, and then you'll be in the cutscene of falling into like the Gaiorg fight. But here's the catch. Your time is still like freaking out. So here's the part where it gets a little bit tricky. You have to start spamming the ocarina button, or else your time's gonna fly by and the moon's gonna crash and your run would be over. It's not that hard to get a time frame in, but like you have a few frames, and what you're aiming for is final day. It you give it's give or take on it, but the Georg fight is way different than the Nintendo 64s, and I will let Zahir explain this fight.
Oh boy. Oh boy. You see, now, unlike the N64 version in a speedrun where you can shoot Georg and have actual skill to beat this boss fight, see, there is skill in the first phase in the 3DS version of the Georg boss fight. You shoot him as quickly as you can, you shoot the eyeballs as quickly as you can, but once you get into the second phase, and now everything is water, it's just Zora, Link, and Georg. Now you're dealing with RNG, because you gotta deal with RNG with where the bombs show up, and hopefully they show up close to Georg. Because if not, then you gotta wait. Pretty much you gotta wait. The fight itself is pretty straightforward. You hit the water bombs free, and you have Georg eat them. So you just do that for 3 cycles, and he dies. So you grab the heart container, you leave the area, and once you regain control of Link again, you Song of Sword back to Clocktown. And since Ultimate Stu just mentioned, you make it to you Song of Double Time straight to the final day past midnight. You go straight into the Clocktown, play the Oath to Order to get into the moon, and then just go straight to the Majora, the Moon Kid wearing the Majora's mask. So you begin the Majora fight, and now the nice thing about the Majora fight, there are changes. It's one of the least changed boss fights in the remake, but there are still changes. It's nice that they don't have giant eyeballs like the other main bosses in the game. So that's nice. Now, first phase. What you do in the first phase, in these any percent speedruns, you start out with having the Zora mask on. So you use the fins to knock down Majora's mask. Then you unequip the Zora mask to shoot a light arrow as Human Link. Then you put the arrow back on, shoot the fins again at the Majora's mask. Then do a jump attack with the Zora, so that now the remains should be coming out. And now, what's different about the first phase of Majora's Mask is that the laser beam it shoots, it's no longer fire. So if you are wearing the Zora mask and the Majora's Mask shoots you with the laser, you will not void out while wearing the Zora mask. You can just take the hit, which is pretty nice. The remains have been. It's interesting how they were changed, because in the original, in case you didn't notice, if you cannot see the remains on your screen in the original, they cannot shoot you. But if you can see them, they will shoot you, and they will fire immediately when they do. No warning. And they will do a whole heart worth of damage. Whereas in the remake, they will now make a warning sound when they're about to shoot, and it doesn't matter whether or not you can see them on your screen or not. And they do only half a heart now. So in a way, they were nerfed in the amount of damage they do, but they were buffed in the sense that they can now just shoot you unless you kill them. So after the remains spawn, you use the Zora Fence to bring down Majora again, shoot light arrows as Human Link, put back the Zora mask on, and knock it down with the fins again, shoot light arrows again, and that should be the end of the first phase. And now you should be fighting Majora Incarnation, which is now the most threatening form in this version, unlike Majora's Wrath in the original, because although Majora's Wrath in the original N64 version can chain you with constant grabbing and throwing you across the room, Incarnation can chain you with its laser barrages. Because in the original, when Incarnation would do its laser barrage attack, you would take one hit and that was it. You get knocked to the ground. All the other hits don't matter. In the 3DS version, they all combo into each other, doing a maximum amount of 3 full hearts worth of damage. And at this point, you would have either 6 or 7 heart containers. 6 if you skipped one, but 7 if you wanted to play safe. But still, 3 hearts worth of damage is dangerous, especially if he or she, whichever some people refer to it as she, Majora, if Majora's Incarnation decides to chain you with constantly doing more barrages, especially if the remains are alive. If the remains are alive, they can help with the comboing by shooting Link the moment Incarnation's barrages are finished. Then you get shot, and then the barrages come out again. That's what makes Incarnation the most dangerous. Even with 7 full heart containers, Incarnation can kill you instantly. There are some strats to fight Incarnation. You can use light arrows to shoot down Incarnation, and even if you don't have magic, you want to use the light arrow, the button that has light arrows equipped anyway. You'll be shooting regular arrows, but when you shoot light arrows at Incarnation or even Wrath, they don't really try to dodge the light arrow for some reason. Pretty weird. But so you would shoot Incarnation down. You would. I think Iwabi does a different method, but a method I would like to use here is because I think Iwabi mainly just does spin attack. Something.
On the second phase?
Yeah.
No, he does the Zora strats, I believe.
He does the Zora strat. Okay, cool. So when Incarnation is down, you would use the Zora fins while Incarnation is down, and this should hit Incarnation 3 different times, and it does a lot of damage. And the moment you do that, you can just use the Zora barrier to knock it down immediately afterwards, and rinse and repeat until Incarnation is dead. Now Wrath. Now you're fighting Wrath. Not a nice thing about nice or not either nice or not so nice, whichever you prefer, because they nerfed Wrath. They nerfed Majora's Wrath because he can't chain you anymore. Its grab attack is a complete joke. You can escape it very easily. And you can still stun lock Majora like normal. And if you have a Deku stick for the Majora Wrath fight, you can do the infinite Deku stick glitch or unbreakable Deku stick glitch, whichever it's referred to. And to do this, you pull out a Deku stick and immediately pull out your ocarina, so that Link will now be holding an invisible Deku stick. I think that's what it was called, invisible Deku stick glitch. I could be wrong, but so he has an invisible Deku stick, which I think it's the same range as if the stick is broken. So you can use that stick to do crouch stabs on Majora and stun lock Majora's Wrath until it's dead. In case you mess up the stun lock, you can use that light arrow method I mentioned earlier to Incarnation, even if you have no magic, to just shoot Wrath down. It won't try to dodge it. And so you do the crouch stab with the invisible Deku stick glitch, and Majora should be dead, thus ending the Majora's Mask 3D any percent speedrun. So, yeah, thanks for watching the speedrun, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the beautiful visuals of the updated graphics of our glorious remake. I'm sure you were able to see so much. I'm only kidding. I'm nothing against the stream whatsoever. I understand technical issues happen. It's very unfortunate that we most likely missed out on the entire run, but if it sounded cool to everyone in chat, I assure you it is every bit, if not even cooler, to watch it live. So
Yeah.
I think they're stuck in some cutscenes. But you guys actually, when you were talking about Georg, he actually was. We got a report that he was actually fighting Georg at the event.
Yeah.
He is still running over there in Japan. They're actually watching off a tiny little capture window on the monitor. That was pretty impressive to just do commentary for the entire game without any video. We do have some time while they actually finish up over there. I guess Iwabi is the record holder for this game, right?
Yes.
So also I'm seeing a lot of Japanese times on the leaderboard. Is there much communication between Japanese runners and North American runners?
Actually, as of what we know, there's only 2 Japanese runners. There's Iwabi and Sora. Sora we have no contact with except for Iwabi. Iwabi talks to him sometimes. But Iwabi is in our Majora's Mask 3D Discord, and he was the one that found quite a few of these strats, like Icona early. We would have not had that without him. In a way, like he found the original Icona early, and then our friend Gabby El Nuevo, he found the easier and updated strat, because the original was just some like consecutive mask jumps, which are really not something fun to do. And it seems like he died to Majora, but that should not like get anybody too upset, because just a couple months ago he was doing a run. He was 2 minutes ahead, and we were all like freaking out because he died to Majora twice, but he eventually beat Majora and PB'd by 17 seconds. Yeah.
Looks like he died to Majora a second time.
oh, that's unfortunate.
Hopefully it's not like getting in his head or anything.
Current delivery PC glitches have arisen. We stopped delivery. Runs as a game at the venue, but delivery towards the restoration work is currently.
Well, you guys are not watching but listening to RTA. In Japan, this is the English language restream for Japan's first large-scale live speedrunning marathon. I'm pretty excited about it. I was excited to see Majora's Mask 3D, but I'll have to do with just hearing about it.
I mean, Zahir will be making his return very soon, and he'll be doing some Majora's Mask 3D if you all want to check that out.
Appreciate that. You don't have to.
But
yes, I love this game very much. It is my favorite video game of all time. I went 3D, never went back to the original. The original is still a masterpiece. Not doubting on it in any way, but the 3DS version is very, very special in its own way. Very unique method of doing round warps. It's just all around very fun too. Uh, not not even a very difficult speedrun to get into. So for those of you who enjoy the 3DS version and you want to try to speedrun it for yourself, I'm sure a lot of us in the Majora's Mask 3D Discord group would love to help anyone who has any interest in running the game. It's an incredible game. Unfortunately overlooked for the fact that it's a remake, but it has lots and lots of really cool stuff. Very fun to play. So yeah, yeah.
You can actually drop the link to the Discord in chat.
Oh,
if you
I'll
want.
do that. I will do that. All right. If you all want to start learning, there you go.
The fight's looking good this time.
Hey,
Says our
Iwabi.
reporter on scene.
What's the time check?
Well, judging by the estimate and the time of day, I would say he's at about 2:02. No, that's wrong. That's totally wrong.
It should be around a 1:37.
Yes.
1:37 is still a really solid time.
Yeah.
Even after the unfortunate deaths, still pretty solid.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, so there's still a bit of time. I guess I can talk a little bit about speed gaming. We're doing the restream for this event happening in Japan, but we do a lot of other things on the channel. You can, I think there's a clickety-clack typing. Yeah, you can go to the events page there to see some of the other stuff we do. I don't want to take too much attention away from the marathon, so I'm not going to go and hype up all the things we do on the channel, but I'll throw it out there. The info we're getting is basically Hoishin in chat is actually at the event, and he's letting us know what's going on. Thanks everyone for sticking around despite the static screen.
Yeah, I hope that our commentary somehow made some semblance of sense in any way.
Yeah.
I would imagine it'd be difficult to catch on to what's happening without seeing much, but I hope something came out.
Definitely something. I saw more than one compliment in chat. So thank you very much for the admirable job of commentating an invisible speedrun. Once again, our commentators were the Legend of Zahir and the Ultimate Stooges. Hopefully, things get sorted out. Stream comes back. I predict that there should not be any problems for the next run, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Not 3D. We're going back to the N64 for this one. It's going to be the MST category. So you're going to see a whole lot of the game instead of skipping right to Ganon's Tower. The runner is going to be CMA. And by the way, the runner from Majora's Mask 3D is Iwabi. We've got, I think he should be, yeah, he's featured If you have Franker Faces installed, you can click on the featured button and just follow him there. But just in case, I'll go ahead and put that Twitch in chat because he has a Twitch channel. So you don't have to figure out how Nico works if you want to see Iwabi do more Majora's Mask. So we're gonna hang out. Stream's gonna hang out. I think we'll probably play some Zelda music. But I'm pretty confident that we'll be back with The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time in maybe 7 or 8 minutes.
So, thank you very much for having me here. This was, it was an interesting experience, very interesting, but very fun nonetheless. And again, I hoped everyone else enjoyed and had a great time as well. I will be heading out from here. So thank you again, and I hope the rest of the marathon goes smoothly for everyone involved.
Thanks, Zahir.
And thank you for letting me join Zahir in this commentary, even though it was blind. I think we both had fun.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me. I don't think I could have done this on alone. All right. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. You were listening
How's it going, everyone?
The voices of Aquas.
Hello. I'll be helping host for the block upcoming here.
And Mikami Hiro.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
And they're here to commentate some Zelda for us.
Yeah, should be really, really exciting. It's a shame what happened to the Majora's Mask 3D stream, though.
Yeah.
I was just telling Aquas earlier that when I first came into the channel, I thought it was like a stream transition screen, and then when I heard Zahir giving commentary, I was like, oh, maybe they're just having an intermission. And then I went to the RTA in Japan stream, and turns out it was down entirely.
Yeah, I wonder what it was in the end that tripped it up. At just driver conflict, or you have to wonder always if it's like someone trips over a cord or something too.
Yeah, well, it's like what you said earlier, how Iwabi was using a different capture card to most people, so that could have been an issue as well. Who knows?
And then they were watching the run in person at the event. For us, unfortunately.
Yeah, at least the spectators who were there at least still got something, right?
So Ocarina of Time, MST, what does it stand for with the category for this?
Okay, so MST stands for Medallion Stones Trials. So the objective of this speed run is to finish the game as fast as possible, except you have additional requirements, and those are to get all the medallions that you see in like the adult dungeons, like the Spirit Temple, Forest Temple, and stuff like that. And then you're asked to get all the stones as well from the child dungeons, so like, you know, Kakiri Emerald, what is it? Sorry, Zora Sapphire and stuff like that. And then the T for the trials is the last bit right in Ganon's castle. There's those mini dungeons that circle around the castle, and you have to complete those as well before you fight Ganondorf and Ganon. So
Okay, so those are like a lot of the main conditions of clearing the game. So what separates it from calling it something else? I get, you know what I mean?
yeah, they call it MST. I think it's, as far as I'm aware, because I've been in the community for about 2 years now, it was just a legacy category to differentiate it from 100%, where you literally had to do everything. But even then, the definition of 100% is still kind of a gray area, because you don't
so it's the compensated 100%
kind of
category.
I know a fair few people when I say it's like 100% except minus the boring parts, but
one of those. Okay. Sure,
it's one of those things. Yeah, I know a fair few people because they think 100% is like this pure category, and you know it's the best because you do everything. I'm like, yeah, but if you've only got like 2 to 2.5 hours, but you don't have 5 to 6 hours to do a run, then it's like the perfect sort of middle ground.
Is that how long the like original 100% is? 5 to 6 hours?
Well, I'm talking to like someone who's just like, if you're just starting out doing like 100% speed runs, it normally goes for about 5 hours. But like the top players, like top 10, are normally all under 5 hours, within the 450, 440 range. And then you've got like the top 4 runners of 100%, like ZFG, SVA, Clint Stevens, and Pitt. They're all within like the around like the 416, which is like world record, to like about 420. Like around that range. So
that is still a pretty long run. Holy crap. I didn't know there was an Ocarina of Time run that went that long.
Yeah, well, that's actually not the longest category. The longest category is like 100% glitchless. So you basically just have to run through the game without doing any, I guess we'll put in quotations, glitches. And world record for that's about 5 hours, 40 minutes. So it's pretty long.
Why do you think the SEMA here chose MST? I mean, there's so many different categories, right? With a speed game like this, I mean, Ocarina of Time is probably the most popular speed run with all the different categories. But so yeah, I mean, why does he play MST?
I think, I mean, personally, MST is my favorite category to watch and run as well. But I think it's because it's a good compromise between, like, in terms of time, like you still get to see a good chunk of the game as a speed run, and you get to see, you pretty much have to go into pretty much every dungeon. So it's still like playing the game, but you're not having to do absolutely everything, and you still get to see it in like this really, really cool, really, really fast way. So I think that's why he picked it, because it showcases a lot of cool glitches and tricks whilst not compromising you on time.
Okay. How populated is this category as far as runners go?
I think it's one of the more semi-popular categories. Actually, at the moment in the community, there's another category that we've sort of started running called All Dungeons. And All Dungeons, recently, within the last, I think, 6 to 8 months, there was a new trick that got found that could be implemented into a few of the categories. And it got implemented into the category called All Dungeons, which is like MST, but it doesn't have as many of the restrictions. And as a result of it, the routes for MST and All Dungeons ended up becoming the same. Well, not the same, but like very, very similar. So a lot of people who weren't too big on MST because of something ended up migrating over to All Dungeons because it doesn't have as many restrictions. So I think at the moment, All Dungeons is probably one of the more popular categories, but MST is still like making a comeback. It's one of the categories I try to advocate all the time.
Yeah, that's cool. I always find it, kind of interesting how all these categories split apart, and it's like there's the whole like bureaucracy on what makes a category, and it can get kind of annoying too. Because
it really does.
People will be like, "No, this is how we should play it," you know?
Yeah, I mean, like it does get a little bit silly. Like whenever like a new say a trick or a glitch gets found, then there might spur some discussion on, you know, how should we redefine a new category, or does like when it's it starts off as, oh, does a route have to be changed? And then that's when it's like kind of cool because it's like science. People are excited to try new things, time it, and see if it's worth implementing it here. But then comes, like you said, the bureaucracy of like, okay, are we going to have to redefine a category, or does this rule set need to change? And 9 times out of 10, it does stay pretty civil, but then it can sometimes devolve to just a bit of petty going back and forth. And I try to stay out of it because at the end of the day, I know it doesn't really do anything when people do that. But
yeah, it's like you just want to play the game, right? More or less.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, it's like how we've defined any of the categories in this game is completely arbitrary. Like, there's no reason why we have to play like MST as Medallion Stones Trials. It's just the set of rules that we've come up with for this category. And if you don't want to run that category, there's OT, there's like at least 10 different more categories that you could try if you're not happy with the requirements of this one. Yeah.
Do they do like votes ever for like the legitimacy of a category? Like, do you have to like ever pass a category or something like that, like in a vote?
I've heard that when that new trick that I said they got implemented into the category called All Dungeons, that started to I heard rumors, I can't confirm, that there was a vote on one particular trick, whether it's going to be classed as, in this group of tricks or in another group. And I think there was a vote, though I'm not sure like how official it was or who was involved. But I guess in a sense, maybe. But I think 9 times out of 10, it just comes down to community opinion, like what we think would be, I guess, ultimately fair, but also fun at the same time.
Yeah, you kind of have to like just define it amongst yourselves sometimes, even if it doesn't make sense. It's like, well, if everyone feels this way, we should do it this way, that type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And like at the end of the day, no one can really tell you how to play the game. Like,
right. It's like
when a lot of players are starting out, some of them may not have the money or the resources to get like a console and a TV. So then there's like, you can use emulators, and there's this bit of like I know there's a bit of a gray area with it, but I'm always telling players, if it's your only option and you want to get into it, if it's your avenue, go for it. Don't let anyone, don't let like the sort of like, what's the word, the taboo of it stop you. Like, if it's your only avenue and you want to just have fun, then we shouldn't discourage that sort of stuff, if you know what I mean.
Oh, for sure.
But I'm really excited to see what Seaman's got installed for us. He's actually a very, very good runner.
Okay. What do you know about him?
Honestly, not much besides that he's really good.
Okay, sure.
It's weird that like in the OOT community, because I know this event's really good in terms of trying to bridge the gap between Western and Japanese runners. The Japanese runners in the Ocarina of Time community are quite active, but they're more like I like to call them like quiet achievers. Like, they just sort of find the tricks, do the runs, and they're just like they're happy.
Post the times.
They post the times, and you don't hear from them until they either find something new or beat their own time again. But there's a few like more, I guess, quote unquote more vocal runners who are like, they're in people's chats talking, they stream themselves, and yeah. So
I'd imagine so. Yeah, I'd imagine so.
I think it's good like that. It just shows that like that they are keen to like interact with the community, and I think that's what's the most important thing.
And both communities, I mean, have plenty to learn from each other too, as far as the games go as well. And I've been pleasantly surprised. Some Japanese runners I met, Beckered, for example, he speaks pretty good English. He'll be running Gimmick later on, but they are required to take English classes in Japan.
Yeah, so, a lot of Asian countries
will have some English, even if they're bad, even if they're somewhat embarrassed about it or whatever. But I'm always surprised at how like Beckered can talk in English to me about like these strats and get everything right, and it's like, what? It's pretty impressive.
You're right about that. Like, one of the more prominent runners in our community is a Japanese runner called SVA, and yeah, like I think he mentioned once in chat that he learned English mainly through watching streams and stuff. So he sort of just picked up on the colloquial way of how we speak. Whereas I find with a lot of these textbook like when you take English in a class, you're sort of confined to this set of rules from a textbook. You structure your sentences like this, and then you phrase, you use this word in this sentence. Whereas when you're just talking in a conversational tone, it can really break a lot of rules that otherwise you never come across unless you were actually in that situation. So I think for people to be exposed to that, I think is a good thing. And SVA can communicate with us all perfectly fine, sort of like how you said, with the other runner. They just sort of chat with you, and it's pretty crazy. I think it's awesome though. Like that, we may think that there's this language barrier, but perhaps it's just all in our heads, and they can easily communicate with us, but they just choose not to out of either principle or they're just shy.
Yeah. Well, it's like English is a fairly large part of Japan. Like I said, they do take classes, but it's it's in video games, obviously, very prevalently. All sorts of arcade games that use English and English and that type of thing, and even like for like branding and English phrases, it's all part of that. But I imagine that when they're in chat, when they're on Twitch and in English rooms, they are able to absorb a lot of English. But I don't think it's exactly the same for us to absorb Japanese.
Yeah,
not quite the same route there.
Exactly. It's like I think that's a big thing as well, because we're constantly in an environment where we can use a lot of English. It's in our media. We see it on signs, and we hear conversations happening. And so we've just got all this sort of, we can be a sponge with all sorts of mediums. Whereas I feel like for them, it's the opposite. They've only got very scarce sources of another language that if they really wanted to learn, they really have to sort of attune to it. Yeah, I think hopefully the stream gets back up soon. I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah, but it's actually, in terms of the MST speedrun that Seema is going to be doing later, another Japanese speedrunner called Baka Neko, we just call him Neko in the community, he actually started working on a new route for one of the versions of the game. So in the community, in Ocarina of Time rather, there's 3 versions that most people speedrun on. There's the 1.0, 1.1, and 1.2 versions. And the differences in that are 1.0 and 1.1 have like version exclusive glitches, and those versions of the game were only available on the Nintendo 64, whereas a lot of players, like including myself, we use the Wii Virtual Console version, but that one officially only came out in 1.2. So a lot of people do MST runs on version 1.2 because the Wii VC version has the least amount of loading time and least amount of lag and loading times and stuff like that.
The Wii VC is 1.2. You said
1.2 exactly. Okay. Yeah. So we don't have the luxury of some of these version exclusive glitches that are available in 1.0 and 1.1. But Baka Neko started working on just a few things out of pure curiosity, and it turns out that there was a few implementations and route changes that you could do, because like if people only ran on the N64 version because it's the only console they've got, or out of, I guess, console elitism, they would sort of lose out if they ran against someone who did on Wii VC, because of like N64's got more lag and longer loading times. If you play the routes side by side, if each player was equal, then they would the N64 version will lose out. But with these version exclusive glitches, I think Neko's found out that if you did these version 1.0 and 1.1 exclusive strats on N64 and you did that route, it's faster than doing the Wii VC.
Ends up being faster. Oh shit.
Yeah, but I don't know at the moment whether or not, like, if you ran Wii VC 1.2 and Wii N64 1.0 against each other, I'm not sure which one is faster. Like, if Neko comes into chat, he might be able to tell us. I think I see him there now. So
that's funny.
Neko, please tell us if you know which ones. Actually, I'll extend this question out to you, Neko. I see you there.
Question
is if you ran N64 1.0 against Wii VC 1.2, which one's going to be faster? Do we know yet, or is it still up in the air? But yeah, like, that only happened very, very recently, and like by recent I mean like at most a month ago. So I'm not sure what route Seema is going to be running today, because I don't even know what console he's going to play on, to be honest. Okay,
That's
so
fine.
Neko just said he doesn't know, so it's still up in the air. So there's still a lot of things we don't know about this game, and in terms of like routing and stuff. So it'll be interesting because we're always finding new things. Like this year, I think has had a lot of activity in terms of glitches being found, routes changing, and stuff like that. So who knows what 2017 will hold?
Do you think like the run is gonna just continuously keep changing, or will people stop breaking it? Like, you know what I mean? Because like there are glitches that do change the routes, and I mean,
I think depending on what gets found, because a lot of things get found, but in terms of like whether it's quote unquote useful for a speed run is another question. So I know a lot of things get found, and in terms of whether it's like gets used in a speed run, it may or may not happen. But I think what will keep on happening, regardless of whether new tricks get found, is people are going to continue to optimize the run. Like people will find faster setups for tricks, or different ways to do a trick that might save half a second to 2 to 3 seconds. But
yeah,
for people who are going to go for like top times and world record, they sort of want that sort of stuff. Any time save they can scrape off, and they'll go for it. Yeah,
it always astounds me how many freaking small time saves there are in Ocarina of Time and the Majora's Mask speedruns. Like, it just doesn't end.
No,
like the stuff.
And I think it's sort of like science in some ways, how it never will end. We'll probably keep scraping.
Yeah.
we think we've scraped to the end of the bucket, but then turns out the bucket is still like X miles deep, and we just sort of have to keep digging and digging. And in a way, I hope it never ends, because it makes it exciting, to find new things, to see new strats, to see new ways of doing things come up.
But just the fact that people like the game enough to keep playing it, this far.
It's a beautiful thing with speedrunning, how like we love one game so much that we'll just play it to death in so many different ways. Like for me personally, I only speedrun Ocarina of Time, and I get asked a lot, why don't I try other games? I said, because there's literally, I'm looking on the speedrun.com leaderboards right now, there's like 15 categories for this game. It's like, if you get bored of one category, you can switch to another, and then when you get bored of that, you can switch back or try something new. Like for Ocarina of Time, at least, there's so many different ways you can try. There's so many different ways you can play the game, so that I think you will never really get bored.
Yeah, it's nice to kind of find your game, so to speak, because that is kind of what you gotta do when it comes to speedrunning. You gotta find a game that you really like, and if you really like it, you'll keep playing it, and if it's a really good game, it will you'll see just how good it is by playing even more.
Plus, the community is like my most favorite thing about Ocarina of Time. Like all the people that I've personally met in the community have been like absolutely awesome. Like there's you rarely get anyone in the community who thinks they're above someone else when it comes to helping. Like if you post on Twitter,
okay.
I'm stuck on something, or I have a question, I normally get a response within like maximum like 5-10 minutes, and it's normally not just from one person. Like 3 or 4 people will reply, and if
that's
they're
pretty nice.
Everyone's really, really nice in that regard. And I think that's why if anyone wants to get into Ocarina of Time speedrunning, they'll find that the community is a really, really friendly place.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I mean, when you have that many people being nice, I mean, it's hard not to for a newbie to really feel like they come in if they know, a lot of people will help them out, and that's really sometimes what it takes, because some of these tricks are so obtuse sometimes that you really do need someone to just kind of explain it simply sometimes, or personally.
yeah, exactly. And I think the stream is back up.
Oh yeah, all right.
I just saw my screen change, and so that's what CMA looks like. It's funny how you can see what some of these players look like because I've noticed a lot of Japanese players tend to be quite shy, and you never know what they look like. And I guess in this sort of scenario, they're sort of
forced.
Yeah, and I didn't want to say that, but in a sense,
they essentially are.
But
I think they're cool with it though, because it's a public event. They accept that.
Yeah, and there's another interesting thing that I noticed here was there's different controllers that you can